Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. I built a product the exact wrong way and I'm still managing to learn a ton. I made the classic mistake of building a particular product without thinking of users first. I built the product first and then I went in search of users. That is the absolute wrong way to do it, and that is exactly how I did it. Even though I made a gigantic mistake like that, I'm still treating this as a huge learning opportunity, and I'm going to talk about what I've been learning. So let's talk about what the product is and why I built it. The product is called Ripple, and it takes long-form blog content and repurposes it into social media posts organized into little campaigns. The reason I built this was because I recently, over the past maybe 6 months, revamped my blog. I wanted to take my blog posts, which are these really long form pieces of content, I wanted to repurpose them for social media. Then I quickly realized that for every blog post I wrote, repurposing the social media took way longer than writing the post itself. That annoyed the crap out of me, so I ran into this office and I decided to build something about it. After a while, I started building the thing and I thought, hey, why don't I try to build this into a product and try to make some money off of it? Now, I'm going to walk you through briefly the product just to give you some context. I'm absolutely not trying to get you to buy the thing. I genuinely don't care if you do or not. This is more to show you what the product does so I can set that greater context of where I went wrong, where I'm still going wrong, and how I'm trying to fix it. So we're going to walk through the core of the product right now so you can get an idea of what's actually happening, and then we can start to figure out where I went wrong, where I'm still going wrong, and what I'm doing right now to try to remedy that and at least get some benefit out of this situation. I already logged in, and what I did before was I fed in some of my old blog posts so the system could figure out my writing style and my tone. And then I gave it my most recent blog posts so I could create those social media campaigns based on the newest post. And when you hop down, you can see the 3 campaigns here. You click into any given campaign. Let's say I liked this one. I can take a look at the LinkedIn post. I can drop this into LinkedIn, hit the post button, and be good to go. This has helped me a ton. However, I built this to help me first, and I only thought about building it into a product later on. That was a big mistake. As I kept building, I made the assumption that if I'm having this problem, surely other people are having this problem too. But that's a huge assumption to make. The right way to do it would have been, okay, find people who are dealing with this problem, see if they like the product, see if they'd be willing to pay for it. So I released this product about 1 or 2 months ago, and I have 0 users. I have no paid users. I don't even have any free users. There's a few different reasons why that could be happening. The first could be that there's no product market fit. It could be that I built a product and nobody out there is either dealing with this problem or they are dealing with this problem, but it's not quite annoying enough for them to actually pay money for it. I could be doing a poor job at highlighting the problem that I built a solution for, and this would fall into more of like the pitching, the salesing, and positioning. I could have people landing on my page and thinking, I'm not really convinced that this is a great solution to my problem. Another option is that I'm not getting this product in front of the right people. I could be targeting the wrong audience. There could be a core group of people that I haven't found yet, and they're craving the kind of solution that I built, and they would genuinely get a lot of use out of my product, and they would more than happily pay for it. So in order to figure out what is actually going wrong, if it's any of those things that I just listed, it's doubling down on sales and marketing. That's something I'm super unfamiliar with, and I've talked about this before. This is a pretty good instance for me to start figuring it out. If you think about the actual situation that I'm in, I'm looking at a pretty good possibility that this thing isn't really going to get any users. It might not even make any money, because I made that mistake in the beginning of building for myself and assuming that, of course, there's got to be other people like me who are dealing with this problem and want exactly what I built. There's no reason to think that that was true. I'm just too early on in this process of entrepreneurship to quite understand that early enough, and here we are. So as I'm focusing on the sales and marketing, I am doing a 2-pronged approach. The first prong is doing cold outreach. So I said before that I might not be getting my product in front of the right people. So I decided, okay, who would most likely be the group of people who would use this product? Bloggers, people who are writing long form content and Substack is a really good fit for that space. Substack is a lot of long form content, so I decided that I'm going to drop into Substack and find either the biggest writers in a given category or the ones who are growing the fastest in a category. I'm just gonna reach out to them. I figured that I could put together a decent enough templated message, and I would reach out to these people and just give them the results of the product. I would give them for free the social media campaign. I think that if I'm reaching out to someone in this kind of cold outreach style, I have to prove that they can have a reason to trust me. And a reason to trust me is to say, hey, I'm here to help you and I'm gonna give it to you for free. Take it or leave it, you could throw it in the trash if you want. But I'm showing up with something in hand to help you out. Because if I'm asking someone for their money, I think that's ultimately what I should be doing. Build trust by providing value right out the gate. And here is the exact messaging template that I'm using. I go through and I look at their articles and I find one that I like. I highlight something and I actually read it so I can give them a genuine compliment. Then I put them through the Ripple system. I ultimately give them those campaigns that I had showed you earlier. And cold outreach is hard. This is a relatively long process. This isn't like I can fire off a bunch of messages in one go. I have to take the time and do the research for each person. If I'm going to cold outreach people, I want to make the best first impression, and this is my way of doing that. So far in my experiment, I think I've reached out to maybe 5 to 10 people, and I haven't heard a lot of feedback yet. I've gotten some, but nothing where someone was super interested, where they said, oh man, I've been dealing with this problem. It sucks. What you made nails it. Where can I spend my money? I haven't gotten that response yet. It's not to say that I won't. I'm gonna give it enough time, and after reaching out to maybe another 5 or 10 people, we'll see what happens. The second prong to this two-prong approach is a Google Ads experiment. Now this is me completely out of my league. Cold outreach is weird and it's uncomfortable, but we've all messaged somebody before, but a Google Ads campaign is a completely different beast. Now I'm actually gonna show you my dashboard for the ads campaign so you can kind of see the impact that it's having. This dashboard feels like a lot of progress. This is really fascinating because now I'm in the space of moving away from writing to people individually and handcrafting this message to getting myself out there in Google search results. I'm paying for this traffic, of course, but it's a really great experiment so far because it's opened me up to how you get in front of internet strangers at scale. So I've been running this since October 10th and today's the 16th. So for the past 6 days, I've had my ad land in front of 1.6 thousand people. That feels really, really powerful. I can't emphasize it enough. It's pretty crazy. That has driven 54 people over to my website. Now there's still no paid users. There's still no free users. But I know people are landing on the website, and that's a start. Once enough people come through to my website, now I'm in a position to understand why aren't they clicking on anything? Are they scrolling down to the whole page? All those smaller details that are really important. So even with no paid users, no free users, this Google Ads piece feels like a real superpower. The two-pronged approach, I think, is not a terrible idea, but the Google Ads part really got me into a different space of, oh, this is how I scale traffic. This is how I get a lot of people, not for free, but this is how I get people over to my website. And maybe this is a way for me to get the ball rolling on just one user. Now I want to focus on that just one user piece because I'm reframing my problem. I know that I built this product backwards. I started with the problem and then I looked for users. I still think that there's a way for me to salvage this. My goal now is to just get $1. If I can get $1, I'll be more than happy because that means I can go from a less than ideal situation to at least some kind of revenue. I'm not gonna buy a new house. I'm not gonna buy a Lamborghini. I'm not even gonna buy, well, maybe a candy bar I could buy with that $1, but that's all I need. So the reframing is super important. If I can get that dollar, this is going to be a resounding success. It's already a success because I've learned so much so far, and there's still a lot of juice I can squeeze from this thing, but getting that $1 will just feel like a grand slam. So now that we have this reframing of the problem where we just want one user, ideally paying, but one user nonetheless, there's an open question out there, which is, what do you do if you get it? The ideal situation is I would get more than one user and they would be paying, and I could just start interviewing them to figure out, okay, what do you like or dislike? How can I pivot this product to a more lucrative space? How can I find a problem that these users are dealing with that is more painful than the one I built the product for? Now that would be ideal, but let's say I just get one free user. What do I do then? At a certain point, I have to figure out, do I stop doing this thing entirely? Do I just take Ripple and put it on a shelf and leave it be? There's a point that I have to acknowledge where I could be doing way too much work for way too little reward. Do I want to continue this process for another 6 months only to get 1 or 2 users? Absolutely not. I think that would be a huge waste of my time. If I could find some way to pivot, great, but it's not a guarantee that I'll be able to find that. There is no guarantee that someone's going to walk through the proverbial door that is the product page, sign up, start paying, answer my questions, help me pivot. There's a lot that could go wrong with that, and I'm not going to assume all of those things are going to happen. Honestly, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I think I'm going to give this little experiment another 3 weeks, and then we'll see how things land. If I have to wait another 3 weeks and I ultimately make the decision to stop trying to make improvements, stop trying to find users, fine. I'm still going to take all these lessons with me to the next thing that I built. But I don't want to sit here and waste my time and fall for that sunken cost fallacy where, all right, I already spent 4 weeks on this thing. I can't just give up now. Yeah, I can give up now, and I can go on to something and try to have more success there. It would blow my mind if I can find a way to turn this thing around and actually make $1, actually get a user, maybe get a couple of users. That's really going to just throw my brain into another dimension. But it might not happen either. The biggest takeaway from all this has been so far is actually figuring out these little tiny tips and tricks for sales and marketing. How do I craft a cold outreach message? How do I show up to a user and provide them value immediately? How do I do that and build trust with that person? Also, how do I set up a Google Ads campaign? How do I get something in front of a bunch of internet strangers with the goal of getting them to pay for a thing? There's so much that goes into either one of those approaches, but it feels good to start taking those first steps and actively work on them. Is this the ideal situation to be in? No, absolutely not. But that doesn't mean I can't learn from this situation. And that's really, really been fun. This whole figuring things out as I go, it's messy, but I think it's way more realistic than a lot of people lead on. What I've been starting to get a better understanding of is that making mistakes is completely fine. I hope that this somehow helps you understand that as well, and maybe you'll start with users instead of just building a product and then searching for users. That's it for today's video. Please feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer. Let me know if there's questions that you have, even share some of your stories, because I am more than happy to learn lessons from anyone watching this. You can also like and subscribe somewhere on this side of my face. And that's it for today. Thank you. Bye-bye.